I'll give all you guys a few minutes to come in. Get Leon in here. What's up, everybody? No, not cutting a promo today, but let me see. Get Leon in here. Let's see, is it? There he is. Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. Let's see here. We'll get some more people in here. Guys, go ahead and share out the live if everyone's so interested in what's going on with my life. Uh, you know, might as well send it out. Get more people in here.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be like a half an hour, so I want to make sure I get through everything with you guys.
Buckle up. It's always fun to have story time. Sure, we'll be joined by a few people here.
It's been a long time since I've really gone live on Instagram, but we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna tell the truth here, which is always good. So I'd love it if you guys comment, let us know you're here. Jason, my old friend, who people think we hate each other. No, we don't. Jason and I are great friends. Jason, maybe in the chat you can clear up the fact that I'm an owner at Topper Store USA. Oh, we got Anna's in here. We got a lot of people in here.
A lot of
Yeah,
people.
it's good, man. Keep sharing it out, guys. And Jason will attest to the fact, even though people are saying I'm not an owner at Topper's Store USA, Jason knows because he too was an owner and he knows I'm an owner. But I'm also going to show you my document that proves I own part of Topper Store USA. It's funny, a lot of people think they know me, what I'm about, where I'm going, what I'm doing, but it's funny hearing a lot of people talk on behalf of me. You know,
A
it's
lot of,
interesting.
a lot of speculations.
A lot, a lot. I love that Anna's in here too. My son is watching downstairs because
Mhm.
I'm trying to teach my son a lesson around how to deal with folks that besmirch your name.
There you go. Happy belated, Brady.
Brady's 17, and for those that don't know, I am now um, I'm 1 year away from successfully raising two beautiful children to adulthood. Um, and I can't wait um, to see how their lives turn out. We got Neil in the comments. I'm just gonna buy some time here, guys. Share it out.
370, 380. Here we go. Let's go.
Share the live out, guys. Get more people in here. Um, I'm gonna make sure I take you guys through the whole thing. Yes, Eve, shout out Brady, and I'm still not a LeBron fan. So Javi Caps, one of my good friends from Jersey, in the chat. Weston Caps, Hezzy. God, we got a lot of great people out there. Jezzy's out there. Noms, Milo, I saw earlier. Why, God, everybody's in here. I love it. All right. No, no. So here's what I want to kind of start with a few things, if that's okay. So I think what's most important to understand why we're here today. So I think the most important thing to remember is, you know, as a kid, what got me into hats was my dad, right? My dad, and some of you have heard this story, but I'm going to start off a little slow here because I think it's important to know how this all built up to where we are today. My dad was a truck driver, not materialistic. So anybody that knows me and knows my dad, and I'll tell you, he's not a materialistic guy. My dad is just like meat and potatoes, go to work, raise your family, you know, that sort of thing. But the one thing he had was hats. And my one connection with my dad was really around, you know, as a kid, hats. He always had one on. It was something we talked about. He'd go to different places across the country to buy hats, and he'd come back from his trips and he'd have hats. And he ended up having tons of hats. And I'm talking hundreds, not like I have. I have thousands, 16,000 now, but just tons of hats. It was just like something that was special to me and my dad. So as I get older, I'm collecting hats, but not as ferociously as I ended up doing it. But then 2004 happens. The Red Sox win the World Series, and then the barrage starts. So, did I have hundreds of hats then? Yes, but it wasn't like it is now. 2004 changed it for me because it became this almost like this collector's piece for me, where I commemorated every important sporting event. If you look around my room, it's all 2004 championship hats. There's just stuff everywhere, and it's like it's no, it's not 60,000, 16,000. And it's just I just loved hats. I loved hat culture. And it was almost like people collect baseball cards. I collected hats. That's just the way it was. It started with just Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, then it just expanded. Now you fast forward a little bit, I start kind of growing in terms of my collection, and I'm finding Facebook groups. And at the same time, my kids lost their mom. So I'm going to try to keep it together. But probably the toughest sort of time in my family because while we were divorced, watching your kids go through that sort of pain is probably the worst thing you can imagine.
Yeah.
So our lives are uprooted in a different way. I've got to adapt. The kids got to adapt. And my whole life was focused on work and making sure they were good. That means from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, was making sure that they had the best life. So I had them in counseling. But what was happening was I wasn't um I wasn't taking care of myself. So I said, you know what? I got to get back into my hobby. I got to kind of bury myself in something else alongside that after the kids went to bed to get my mind straight. And that was again hats and sports. I then took my kids on a baseball trip across the East Coast, just me and them in the Traverse, and it was a special time for me because it was just me and them. And that trip healed my family. And it was that culture helped. The community helped. And that's when I built my Instagram. And my daughter said, "Why don't you call it Captain America?" And for those that don't know, um, that was my first Instagram handle. But as I got bigger, I got worried. And I said, no, we got to change it to something that's not going to get Disney after me. So I changed it to the Captain Wonder. Now, that Instagram and my involvement in those hat communities um, helped to elevate some things. For example, my pictures and the way I displayed the hats and my collection was something that drew people in a different way, and I felt it, and I liked it. Not because it wasn't an, I don't know if I just paused there, but I liked um, the fact that people had a place where they could all kind of meet around stuff that they loved. You know this, and I think it just it just felt good being parts of these communities. And we were all friends, and I met some of my best friends in these communities, like Leon, Chris K, TJ. There's so many people I met in these communities that were just it was amazing. And Then things started to get busier in the hat world. I don't know if you guys know about this, but then the pink bottom came to fruition at Hat Club. And, and a guy by the name of Richard Genick reached out to me. And I was known at Hat Club because of how much I spent with them. He reached out to, but also because of my presence in the communities, my pictures, and my collection itself. So they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, Pierre, we want to send you these pink bottoms." I was like, "I don't know, man." I was like, "I don't know." Pink bottoms, it's probably not my kind of thing. But against my better judgment, I said, "Send me those pink bottoms. I'm going to post them." Right. And that created, while they were already popular with the locals, getting them in my hands made them popular everywhere. And then I met Justin, who's a fantastic guy. I met a lot of people at NoHo, just fantastic people. And then the second thing was the red velvets from Hat Club. I got those early, and then I posted those, and it was just erupted. The whole world erupted, and then COVID comes along. Well, actually, prior to COVID, I said, "You know what, Leon?" I said, "I love what we're doing. We're always talking about hats. We had a couple other friends that we talk about hats with, and I said, why don't we just put this on YouTube or something? We can all talk about hats there and build something special there." My other two friends opted out. They're like, "Nah, I don't, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't like talking on camera." I got it. I didn't like it either. I actually, when I first started doing the channel, I used to make Anna go for a walk because I didn't want her to hear me because I felt so embarrassed. It was embarrassing to me that I was doing like a YouTube channel on this. It was kind of corny to me. But this channel started to erupt. And what the channel was really based on was just creating content for people that loved hats. And the second component of it was, let's help small businesses um, become more relevant. Because what I was starting to see and what Leon was starting to see was Lids and Hat Club were the only two games that really everybody knew. And then if you didn't have a Hat Club hat, you weren't allowed to sit at the cool kids table. So I said, let's do this. Let me start like shining a light on stores like MyFitted, and I'm going to tell you about MyFitted really quick. Now, John Jay, people ask why I don't. I still, John Jay and I still have a relationship, but we're also competitors to a degree. Okay, yeah. Look, Mom, no hands. Ryan, I met him because of the channel. But either way, getting back to John Jay, John Jay's business was in a tough spot, and he'll tell you that. You were at a point where you had to buy one hat to be able to touch a good hat, and this was he. It was I didn't like seeing it because I had bought from him for so many years, and I like seeing it. He reached out to me, said, "Hey, here, will you show some of my hats on your channel?" And we started showing hats on the channel, and he blew up. And that's the reality. When it comes down to it, his talent is unmatched. But sometimes someone needs to show somebody someone's talent. And I'm going to tell you right now, um, the Harry Potter pack is probably what propelled, and showing it on the channel is what I believe propelled him to this legend status he has now. His work, but also someone shining a light on it. And that was like kind of an experiment for me in terms of would it work, and it did. So then we started vlogs. We started doing more reviews for different people. And in every case, and for those that say they don't agree, I don't care if you agree. I could care less. I could care less. I could care less if you agree. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you're disagreeing in your little bubble where I saw it all. Now, then I started going into stores such as Sports World, Exclusive Fitted, For You Caps, places like that, and just creating um, high level of visibility for smaller businesses. And you're starting to see a shift in the hat world as that's happening. Okay. What's happening is people aren't just saying, "Oh, you have to buy Hat Club hats to be cool." You could buy any hat, and you have different little kind of places where you can congregate and talk about hats, and you didn't get berated if you weren't wearing a Hat Club hat. You could go to other people that that were wearing exclusive fitted hats. It didn't fucking matter. It was just cool. And everybody was accepted. So for those that don't understand, in general, I was trying to create a high level of acceptance in a community so people felt like they could all hang out together and have a good time. And if there's some bullies in the room, you could avoid them and go sit with other kids like you. That's what I was trying to do. Why? I was bullied in elementary school and I know what it feels like. Period. And thank you, Johnny. Yep, you hit us up and we helped propel Hat Dreams. Well, I'm not saying that we did the work. What I'm saying is, and I know you're saying this, Johnny, I never said I did the work. What I'm saying is I shined a light on the work. And that is what's most important. Okay. And I think allowing people the space to show off their creativity was very, very important to what we did. And now there were some weeks, right, where Leon and I would film videos with Jason almost 6 days a week. Sometimes we had 2 videos. So people would reach out. Never once did I take a dime. Never once did I take a dime. If Berdeen's reached out to me and said, Pierre, can you do this? Yes, send them my way. Pierre, can you do this? Yes, send them my way. At the end, people think I wanted the hats. I didn't want the hats. Leon will tell you, it was out of control. That's why there's 16,000 of them. There'd be 20,000 of them if I didn't start sending them back. So at the end, they were sending them to me.
Mhm. No, you hear. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, because I got a call here.
Yeah.
But the reason why is because I didn't want the hat. I didn't want the hats. I just wanted to do things to help other people. So there was one gentleman that went live earlier today with someone and said that that um that he didn't care about Hat Podcast or me. Well, here's the reality, right? He reached out to me and asked me to show the hats, his hats. This is 95 North, and I did. And then I did multiple times. One time I got critical on one of his hats, and all of a sudden, like I'm a bad guy. But isn't that supposed to be honest? Am I supposed to be honest? Then and the other thing is, without this platform, all of you guys out there collaborating right now, that never would have fucking happened. This is what you don't understand. If you didn't have this show that I created that shined a light on hat creators, no one knew who these people were until I showed you who they were because I interviewed them. No one would have known. No one would have known that that's even possible. That's it. If Views from the Vault didn't exist, you would not be collaborating with any store right now. Period. And you can say in the comments, that's not true. I don't believe it's true. It's 100% true. Because no, you guys thought Jason Hackcrawler was a robot until I put him on my show. You guys thought he was a bot until I put him on the show. And then you saw the person. And Jason will tell you. I said, Jason, I think for your platform to take off, they need to see you and know you. Come on the show. Ask them. Did I ask you for money, Jason? No. You know that. And I asked nobody because I haven't asked anybody for money the entire time I've done this. Make sense? And for all of you, it's the other thing I want to say too. So the other thing that was calling the question about me was collaborations. Like they would these the creators, the grassroots creators I call them, the folks that kind of made hats. I had people send them to me, right? Or send me a picture and say, Pierre, can you show this on the show? And I would say, okay, let me be honest with you. If you send that to me, I'm going to tell people I don't like it because I don't like it. Okay, I don't like it. And Scooter Love's in here too. I helped him too. These are all people that helped with no cost, man. In some cases, I went and bought the hat. But what I'm telling you guys is, I would actually tell people that would send me pictures of their hats. I'm not going to review it because I don't like the hat, and I don't want to do that to you. How much more honest do you have to be? I literally told them, listen, I will take the hat if you want me to show it and tell them the truth about how I feel. And a lot of times they then wanted to send me the hat because I was being honest. I'm not here to railroad people, but the show that Leon created with me, but Leon will tell you I was the head guy in this whole situation. He knows that because I'm the one who pushed this shit. And I said to them, I said, I'm never gonna be. I'm not dishonest about what I like and don't like. Honesty is always the right way to go. You know why? Because the people have to remember their lies all day. I could only imagine what that feels like. And I can't lay my head on the pillow knowing that I intentionally trash someone for personal reasons. If I personally don't align with someone, what I did with them is I put them off the show. I'm going to give you an example. So I misspoke earlier, right? Because Leon reminded me what happened. 95 North, the reason they were pulled off the show, it was a consensus decision. And the reason why, now that we reflect back, is because this individual was saying things personal about everybody on the show because he didn't like the fact that 1 week he wasn't put on the show. That's why. That's exactly what happened. And I'm going to tell you, um, the other thing is, and I'll be frank with you, is I'm not going to back or support a business that can't even properly take care of their customers and have that associated with me and my name. Okay. So these folks blamed New Era for many months. I think almost a year, actually. I'm sorry, for a pre-order that never arrived. Right? Bullshit. I've dealt with New Era now for multiple years, and I'm going to tell you, I that is untrue. Those folks knowingly and willingly took money from customers for a pre-order and did not order the hats. That's what they did. So I ask you again, I ask you, all of you in the comments, would you support that business? If you were me, would you support that business? A business that knowingly took customers, treated you like a bank, an interest-free bank, knowingly take your money and not fulfill a pre-order. Tell me, would you honor that? No. So for anybody that watched the live earlier where this gentleman said, talks about overhead and business practices and says, I don't own anything. If you were me, what value would you find in what that man said? And would you keep that guy around? And allegedly he's a rat. He ratted out his friend for for a smaller prison sentence. So allegedly, I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard. From an integrity standpoint, I think I stand on a better firm piece of land, so to speak. So I'm going to show you guys something real quick. I'm not going to show you my personal information. This right here, that right there, is proof that I'm co-owner of Click and Sell USA. It's a C corp. I was the chief operating officer, and I'm a C corp. I own my percentage of it. That right there is undeniable proof that I own it with Pat. Okay. Now I'm going to rewind a little bit, and I'm done talking about Kuda. That guy deserves no more of my time. I've dealt with him before in the past. You guys can continue to deal with him if you like, but if you're looking for your pre-order, I wouldn't hold my breath. I'll just say that. And those guys talking about what I own, why I left, I was fired, all this stuff. Give me a break. I've never been fired from anywhere in my life. I dictate where I go and what I do. I hope that makes sense to everybody. No one's dictating my next moves. Okay. And in my post, right, what I wrote was I am leaving Topper Store USA effective 6/15. That doesn't mean I'm leaving the community. This community is full of my friends and people I love and care about. My love for this doesn't change. I'm just not going to be running Topper Store USA anymore. I submitted a resignation effective 6/15. because I want to give enough time to allow for the transition to happen appropriately. That's it. Now, when it comes down to it, um, do I know exactly what's next for me? No, but that's the beauty of where I'm at right now in life is I can be in that space. Not everybody can be in the space I'm in right now and be comfortable. I'm comfortable. The fear isn't of, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless. The fear is not knowing what's next because I've always been so planful with my life. Why am I leaving? Was I fired? No, I wasn't fired. You guys want to see the resignation letter? Jesus Christ. It's like it's there's no reason for anyone to take anybody's word over mine. And that's it. And my life is in a place where I can comfortably do this right now and feel good. I've had great careers my whole life, and this will not change. I will have another great career. That's it. So I'm going to explain to you guys one other thing that I want to make sure is out there. So, you know, when it comes to like experiences in life, especially from a work perspective, the way people grow is by changing experiences from time to time. Meaning you can't do the same thing your whole life if you expect to grow. Okay. So for me, I've had a series of experiences throughout my life that have led me to a place where I'm pretty well rounded and I'm ready for the next thing. I'm going to tell you guys what Toppers Topper Store USA had a great customer service foundation from what Pat brought to the table. And I'm going to tell you I made it better. And that's a fact. The level of accessibility to me, the level of accessibility to Anna, the virtual shopping appointments, the Vault Club, all of that stuff is first in class. And if I continued, it would be even better. That's the truth. That's no slight on anybody else. I just know my value and I know what I created. And if anybody doesn't see it, then you're blind. Okay? I hope everyone because there's no this is no slight to Pat. That's not what I'm saying. But Pat didn't come up with virtual shopping appointments. He didn't do that. He didn't come up with a Vault Club. I did. That's the way it is. And I did it because a lot of these stores really feel good about seeing their hats reselling for 600 bucks. You know what I feel good about? I feel good about seeing walking in the South Bronx and seeing a bunch of Topper Store hats on people's heads. There's a difference in that. I want you to remember that. There's people that get excited about seeing their hats reselling for 600 bucks. I get excited about seeing as many people as humanly possible wearing our hats on their head. And if you think about that, that's what makes me different from others. If you walk by our store in Mott Haven, you're sure to see the projects across the street that everyone told me I shouldn't move next to. But you're also sure to see a bunch of Topper Store USA hats on their heads because they're proud of us being in that neighborhood. Okay. Now, I think you guys were looking for something juicier, right? There's not a lot of juice in this. It's just like the reality is I love hats. I love hat culture. I feel like I built something special in many different ways. And now it's time to move on. That's it. There's nothing juicy about that, I guess. But that's the story. And I'm not going to forget who I am as a human being. I've never allowed someone to trash my name and talk about me, and I know it and not address it. You know, I can't address everyone. There's a lot of people out there. I saw a lot of burners following me right before this live because they wanted to come in here and they wanted to, uh, they wanted to come in here and probably hate and stuff. But you know, the day I felt most fulfilled is when I posted that. because you guys saw 400 something comments, right? And if you read through them and you're not a biased asshole, you start to realize that you built something special. You understand? And I think when you look at it, that's a fulfilling moment. And then if that's not enough, I went to my unread messages, and everyone knows that I clear out all my messages every day, right? I answer everybody every day. Sometimes not the ones that are in the request because it takes me a while to get through those. But once, I think it was about 6 p.m. that night, about 8 hours after I posted, there was 620 something unread messages of people reaching out and sharing stories with me, about what the channel meant to them, what Top Restore USA with me involved meant to them, um, and how disappointed they were, you know. And I think it was sad, but also fulfilling to see it. Then I looked at my text messages. I must have had 100 of those. I had a bunch of phone calls. So for all the haters out there, there's a lot, but there's 10 times as many people that care about me and have done great things for me. And the love that you get from those people make everything else seem so unimportant. That makes sense? I don't know. I know this was a lot, guys, and I know you're probably like, gosh, I wish there was more rumors and drama and stuff, but I think those days are behind me. I just had to address this one guy who has been somewhat of a thorn in my side, um, and speaking on behalf of me. And he said something about he owns two tractor trailers or something now, and he can give me a job. I don't need one, and I don't have my CDL. So, and I wouldn't work for someone who steals from people. That's what my response would be to you. Uh, Leon, you have anything you want to share?
I'm just taking it all in. You know, we've created something that is almost second nature. Sometimes it's good to step back and you know, kind of enjoy it because we both are very humble and we don't like to beat our chest and but sometimes things need to be said, man. Like you've been a huge impact on what people think, and I told this to you before, like we kind of crossed that barrier and kind of showed people the way, and you said it best, like if we weren't around, like how many people would be collabing? I don't think many, at all. We showed people how to mock up a hat. You know if you don't like our platform, you create your own. Okay, good, cool. But there was no channel before us. There's not going to be many after. If you think that we did it for the money, there wasn't a lot of money in it before. Me and you did countless videos, Jason too, and the others, 30, 40 views, a couple people on a live. We still did it. We showed up every fucking week, you know. Show us a big gap in where we took a break at all, you know. Show us a list of people we've wronged with proof and not speculation, and show us a list of stores that we've said no to helping, you know. Yeah, like
Hmm.
there's been times where the photos weren't up to snuff, and we went back and were like, "Hey, we can't post this." Or you did. You had a very high standard for us. We can't post these. These photos are no good. Get better photos, and we'll post you. No problem. Show us a list of stores we've wronged. Show us a list of people who we genuinely
Leon,
messed up.
I gotta say one other thing too, right? We're all these small stores now that made money off our
Yeah,
backs. And I think that's the important thing to remember too. Like, I'm going to say something about Munfu really quick. And Munfu was not my best friend at the end. And that Munfu thing, that was more between. I'm not going to get into details. But that was more between Leon and Munfu, and I was forced to choose between the two of them. And I chose Leon. And then I turned into the bad guy. But what I'm going to say, the one thing that Munfu said that was right is he said you should monetize this thing. You shouldn't do all this stuff for people for free. And I think he was right to a degree. But then I think about would I have built the same great relationships I did have had I not? But these small stores that built their businesses off of our backs, like there's a lot of them that are still there though, like still fan treasures. I can name quite a few that are still super big supporters of us.
Capanova,
Um,
Locker Room.
Capanova, yeah, there's a lot, right, that are still really, really good to us and stuff. But a lot of them just kind of like. I don't know, man. They just kind of like all of a sudden disappear, and they don't want to, you can't do nothing for me now. So like, I'm done with you. And I think you start to realize that in life, right? Your value is only what you're offering people that don't care about you. It's only the value you're offering them right at that moment.
Yeah.
And you
What
start
can
to
you do
find
for you?
over time, you start to realize who the real ones are. So after my post, Shaheen called me from Still. Casey from the Clink Room reached out to me. All these people reached out. Even Big Jack from Lids reached out to me. And I think like when you think about it, those guys are the ones that truly appreciated things. The ones that disappeared, they never cared about you. Fresh Rags, yeah, Fresh Rags is another one. Sorry, Michael Bickle from Fresh Rags, of
Yeah.
course, of course.
Shout
But
out to the
yeah. But I think like I hope I cleared up some stuff though. I really do. You know, what else, Leon? Anything else that we should cover?
No, I mean, people are asking about past stuff, like we've addressed it in the past, like we leave it in the past, you know. So yeah, take a look at the dates, man. Our first collabs rolled out 2021. Our channel was launched 2019, 2020. You know, we've been here. We never asked nothing from nobody. And if you're saying we're lying, find us the fucking proof, because I know, I know we can get fucking paid. You know,
Hmm.
I know who the fuck we've helped. I know how many streams we sat here, could have been doing anything else in the world, but we loved it.
Hmm.
Wouldn't have done it with anyone else. Wouldn't have traded it. You know, yeah, okay, some things would have handled. We could have handled a little bit differently or whatever. But you know, you live and you learn. You don't dwell on the past and try to be better people. But find the people that really hate us for a reason and try to figure out why. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, man. I think a lot of hate comes down to jealousy, man. I think like you see it, like, and you feel it when someone else is doing great. All of a sudden, people want to knock you down. And I think that's what separates winners from losers is the folks that are just looking to knock the successful people down. Like people want to hear that I'm on Skid Row. They want to hear I'm in so much. They want to hear it, but like no one talks about when I won the Lids Ultimate Hack competition and I gave the money to local boys and girls clubs. No one talks about that. No one talks about like some of these businesses that wouldn't have survived COVID had I not been around. And I think like people want to talk about the crazy shit. That's why there's 500 something people in here at one point. There's like 550 people in here at one point
Hmm.
because people stop thriving on the negative and thrive on the positive, man.
They want to see the
Honestly,
crash and burn. They
they
want to
want to
see the
see
downfall. That ain't here though. That's not gonna be here.
no, and people keep asking, is VFTV continues, man. VFTV is yeah, yeah. The gaslighting fit is RS. It's exactly what it is. It's gaslighting, making things, just making you like it's just ridiculous. Um, I don't know what you guys mean by the hats, but Popper Store USA continues on, guys. Pat will have to take over running the US because I won't be here after the 15th. And until then, though, I'm fully invested. So Vol Club, all that stuff. Now the transition period, you're going to have to see what that is as we get closer. So we haven't fleshed that all out yet, exactly what's going to look like when I'm gone. But I'm not going to keep you guys in the dark. We're going to figure it out, and that's how it's going to move. Um, but I really do. If there's any other questions, you guys can certainly shout them out there. We can try to answer them. No, I'm not going to be involved at Topper Store USA in any way, shape, or form, including designing. Um,
Yeah, but you still have months of stuff that's gonna roll
oh yeah,
in.
there's still months of
Like that's
stuff
that's
in the
the thing
pipeline
with
right now.
that's the thing with New
Yeah.
Era. Like
So
you
like,
just
uh, so like, I got a design session with Pat on Monday and the rep on Monday. Those will still be coming. So we're talking like months and months and months of stuff coming. You know? Okay. Yeah, guys, and I'm leaving because it's time to move on. There's like people. I think people are looking for something crazy to like be like. It
they
needs to
want
be a
something
crazy
more
reason.
sensational. Yeah, they want something more sensational.
Why isn't it? Why? No, Anna will be staying for the time being. Um, she wants to stay, so she'll be staying. But I think like that should right there. That should go to show you this isn't some disastrous thing. If the woman of my life is staying in the company, and I'm still posting hats for the company. I'm still designing hats for the
Yeah,
company. Why would anyone think this is some sort of ugly thing?
we just did a members only. video for Toppers USA
Yeah. Yeah.
at 1 p.m. 2 hours ago. Like, come on.
Okay. Yeah. It's listen. It's time for. I woke up. I woke up one morning and decided it was time. That's. And I know that's not an answer people want to hear, but that's what it is. Okay. All right. All right. So I guess we'll end it here, guys. I really appreciate you guys joining us. I think this was a good way to kind of get the message out. Um, yeah, and Anna can still, guys, everything's the same right now. Everything is the same. Okay, everything is the same right now. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Listen, man. I'll say one other thing too. When when you think about like it's no, I think I'll keep that one to myself for now. I'm going to keep it to myself for now. All right. So thank you, Leon, for joining me. I want to thank all of you guys. I mean, when you see this many people join a live, it's really impressive. By the end of it, we probably had thousands of people in here throughout. So I want to thank you, Leon, for joining me. I want to thank all of you guys out there. And again, even to the haters, because listen, at the end of the day, when people stop talking about you, you're no longer relevant. So I think if anything was proven today, there's still some relevance in this hack game, and there's still some relevance in what I do every day. So thank you so much, everybody, and we'll talk again soon.